This is GrantTalk, hosted by Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch and author of The Queen of Grants.
Hi, everybody. I'm Libby Hikind, and I'm your host today on GrantTalk, which is powered by GrantWatch. And I am the author of the book, The Queen of Grants, From Teacher to Grant Writer to CEO. And sitting with me today, and I'm so excited to hear about what they do because it is so replicable in other locations, and that's really what's important. I'm sitting with Nan Devlin, and she represents the Tillamook Coast Visitors Association.
Yes.
And what's your title there?
I'm an executive director.
And Tillamook is located in Oregon, and what they do is they give out grants, and over the past 9 years, they've had 3 different grant opportunities for their location. And one of them is called the Tourism Signage Grant. They've given over $7 million out for that. The other is the Tillamook Coast Tourism Facilities Grants, where they've given $6 million. And another one is the Tillamook Coast Tourism Marketing Grants, where they've given $1.2 million, this over 9 years. And we are so pleased to find out what they do there in Tillamook and what can everybody do in all their counties, because I think that's the key to it. If it works someplace, let's get it working somewhere else. So let's listen. Okay, Nan,
Yes.
take over. Tell me, where does this money come from? Because everybody wants to know that.
So in 2013, Tillamook County was rated with the worst roads in all of Oregon. And it's a small rural county on Oregon's north coast. It's mostly a traditional farming, commercial fishing, timber county. So when they went looking for money, they realized, well, gosh, there's this lodging tax we can implement that could bring in some dollars, some big dollars. And so they turned to our state and our state travel organization to help set up a lodging tax of 10%. There is a law that was set in 2003 by the state that said any new lodging tax implemented after 2003 had to go under a 70-30 split. And the 30% could go to anything the municipality wanted. In our case, it went to help repair roads, and that's been extremely successful. But the other 70% has to be spent on tourism-related facilities and/or promotions. So I'm not sure if our county commissioners at the time knew that what they were really doing was launching community-based sustainable tourism. And that's my background.
That's economic development.
It's economic development. I earned a master's in tourism administration at the George Washington University, and that's what all of that education was about. It was about economic development, sustainable tourism, helping the community, stewardship of the natural environment, and also creating year-round economic vitality. So I was thrilled to have this happen because one of the first things they said, we're going to get this 70% back into the community as fast as we can. So that was the start of the tourism facilities grants. And so millions have gone out into that.
It's like a circle. It just goes round and round. You come visit Tillamook. You spend your time there, you're happy, you pay the tax.
Yes.
Now we make it better for you the next time because we now have better signage, we have better roads, we have better facilities. It just goes round and round, and you just develop your area.
It is. And, and the beauty of this is that the things that we consider tourism facilities are performing arts centers, they're museums, they're community centers that hold events. They're skate parks, they're community parks, because these, even though visitors are the ones who pay that lodging tax, the community benefits, as well as giving the visitors more experiences and better experiences. So it's just been wonderful to see. In fact, there was one town that became extremely popular, like to the point of over tourism. It's a big surfing spot. There's, dune buggy areas, all
Yeah.
these things. Well, the traffic and the congestion came so quickly. The county commissioners have also invested monies outside that grant process that is also part of the lodging tax, and they're putting in parking and new restrooms, an outdoor amphitheater that's close to the beach, you know, pathways, bike trails. All of that is coming from this lodging tax.
You woke up this sleepy community.
Exactly. And then the other thing was the marketing grants. And so the facilities grants were given to and awarded to nonprofits and agencies. Like we have several incorporated cities within the county. They have their own, some of their own lodging tax, but it came before the 2003 Oregon law. So that money went into their city budgets, which helps pay for, all kinds of infrastructure. But anything after 2003, of course, that if they increased the lodging tax, they can use it for these things too. So often the county will match a grant that they're doing or a project that they're doing that might include some better beach access or fixing outdoor trails. We have a historic railroad here that has gotten several grants to help improve the railroad tracks and also create a train museum. So there's really wonderful things happening with this money. Then we started a marketing grant, and that was for businesses and nonprofits.
And we
And
had it on GrantWatch.
yeah, and we have people have done videos, social media marketing, they've done some signage, they've done, special events. We do a lot of events with this money, and it's really, we've ended up becoming kind of the go-to advisors for grants in the county. Like, where can we have this thing we want to do? Where can we find money?
Do you send them to GrantWatch?
Yeah, yes, yes,
Thank you.
yes, we do actually. And it's just this lodging tax has transformed how people think about the benefits of tourism. It has helped all of our cities. It's helped our county, our nonprofits. It's really been transformational.
What cities and towns are located in Tillamook County?
From north to south, the incorporated areas are Manzanita, a beach town where I live, Nehalem, which is more of a farming community, Wheeler, which was an old fisheries, and Milltown, and is now kind of a place where you go to get fresh seafood for dinner. It's great. And then there's Rockaway Beach, which has been a family generation for 5, 6 generations getaway. They are probably the largest of the tourism towns, and they too are doing grants. We talked them into doing that, and they're doing them, and I can tell you about that in a bit. And then there's Garibaldi, which is a traditional fishing town. Bay City, which is kind of like our version of a suburb, and then Tillamook is the largest town. And that's where the Tillamook Creamery is, where Tillamook cheese is made. There's
That's
a
why it
lot of
sounded
big
familiar.
companies there. Yeah.
So can I rent a car and drive all the way along the coast and go through
Yes,
every town?
yes, you can. Yes, you can. And you can fly into Portland. We're only about 70 miles from Portland over the Coast Range. It only takes about 90 minutes to get here. And our towns on the coast are thriving. And here's the great thing. During COVID, the Tillamook Creamery matched our marketing grant by 100%. So we were giving out 100,000. They gave us another 100,000, and we put out $200,000 in grants during that first year of COVID. And we have a trail here called the North Coast Food Trail, and we have 80 members on it. And during COVID, not a single business went out of business. Not a single food business. And they received it impacted those grants impacted 90 different businesses.
I want our listeners and viewers to understand that if you need a grant for your organization, there is a grant for you.
Yeah.
Look for it.
Yes.
Like it's there. GrantWatch is there. If it's not there today, it's there tomorrow. When people apply for grants to your organization, do you know whether they've come through GrantWatch?
That I don't know. And that would be a great survey to do. We often will, it's often through our press releases that we'll put links into our press releases, our social media posts. But we have a lot of very sophisticated nonprofits here who I'll bet you anything use GrantWatch, but that would be a great question to ask.
What tips would you like to tell people that are applying for grants that they should be doing?
Well, first of all, I think that you absolutely have to consider not only what you need, but what the grantor is expecting and needs. Because when we give out grants, we expect a response that addresses the reasons that we're giving out these grants. For instance, the tourism facilities, you do have to show that your facility is a place where tourists go or visitors go. In the marketing grants, it's mostly for off-season marketing. So, fall, winter, spring. Show us that you've thought about that and that you have a plan for those areas. Because summer, we're packed here, right? You don't really need to market for summer.
Address the need.
Plan for the rest of the year. So those kinds of things, like read that grant, look over the qualifications and the criteria, and answer every question very thoughtfully.
What mistakes do you find in grant applications?
What mistakes do we find? For instance, for the marketing grant, people might just say, we want a video. Well, how are you going to market that video? That might be the basis for your marketing grant, but you're not telling us what you're going to do with that video. In a facilities grant, they might consider that because they provide water to a city or a district, that they should be considered a tourism facility. But they're not, because tourists or visitors don't go to that building. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so, and I know one of the things that we do just about every year is we do either an online video training program to how to write specific grants, what we're expecting to see, or we do in-person meetings and walk them through it. And we'll do like a sample grant and show them why we answered the way we did.
I have in my book a whole section, follow directions, which is just common sense. But a lot of people, just like, if you put a crib together, you don't read the directions, it comes out with 3 sides, right?
So that's exactly right. And,
right?
yeah. And it's, you should also find out, is there anybody else doing this? Are you repeating something that's already out there that you can already have access to? We've seen that quite a bit. You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
If I talk about your water facility for a minute, if they would have written a grant that said, we are going to have a tourist attraction in our water facility. We're going to show how the water is pumped, where it's coming from, how it's refined, and people that come to the area can have another tourist attraction. Then they probably would have gotten it.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, that would have fit in perfectly with one of our initiatives as an organization, which is stewardship. That's, about learning about managing your natural resources and protecting them. That would have been perfect.
So you have to take a look at what's the funding source looking for, and what do you want to do? You want to increase, you want the dollars? Well, this is how you get them.
Yes, absolutely. And, when I was first starting to write grants, I made those same mistakes. I didn't read the grant all the way through. All I was thinking about was, oh, here's some money. Here's some, a source of money that we need. And of course I didn't get that first grant. But I learned, and we're able to share that with other people too.
Right. That's exactly what I'm doing. Not my first grant. My first grant I won, thank God. But there was a grant that I was working on with another person. We were going to apply together. It was a federal government grant.
Oh, yeah.
And we were going to match the core curriculum and the preschool curriculum, all different codes and numbers that every objective had in 3 different places. And we were going to merge them together. And I left for the holidays with a page that said, when you format it, this is how you format it. Exactly so. And that person did not follow the directions. Yes. I had written 90% of it. That's all they had to do. I got back something, and I actually put the piece of paper into the book, because I got back something that said there was no budget. 60 pages, and there was no budget.
Yeah.
I wrote a budget, and I worked very carefully on it. And what happened was, because they didn't format it correctly,
yes,
we used up the space and we didn't win. And it taught me one thing: don't leave anything in anybody's hands. If you want to do it well yourself. But still, it's the life lesson to learn to follow directions.
It is. And I know of foundations that if you don't follow exactly, you are immediately rejected. We will often offer like a 14-day. If you show us the draft of your grant 14 days prior to the deadline, we'll do everything we can to help you fix things, or we'll make suggestions. And of course, people don't contact us till the day before.
Right.
And
I say apply early.
Apply early is right.
Right. If you apply early and they really like your program, they might write you back and say, you still have time to fix it this way.
Yes.
A federal grant, a federal grant, everything is exactly written down. And if you don't get a second chance with a federal grant except for the next year. But foundations, they're looking for certain programs. And if they see something that really excites them, they may want to fund you, even though you made a mess of your application, right? But if you apply early enough, they're going to contact you and
yes,
work it out with you.
And that's so true. And, there's another suggestion. When you're applying for like statewide or federal grants, or call them, even foundations, call them, ask them for some advice, find out, run your idea by them and say, is this something you would consider? What recommendations do you have? I have found we're doing some grant writing ourselves because we're starting up a commissary kitchen. We're calling it Partners for Rural Food Systems, and we're trying to get a place where small farmers and small fishers, value-added producers can come and conduct their business. And I have been calling USDA, our own Oregon Department of Agriculture, some of these other, federal grants, EPA even, that say, okay, first of all, do we qualify? And as an organization. Second, is this something that you would consider funding? And is there a certain program I should look at? They're there to help. And
when you write an application, it takes over your entire organization. So why do it, right? Why do it if you're not eligible?
Well, yeah, and that's exactly right. And we're going to be seeking more than $1 million for this facility, and it's going to probably be a combination of several grants. And then, if it is, how long do you have to use up that funding? That's another, like our facilities grants. You have 3 years to get your match, and if you need it. And to get your project done, you've got to have all your permits, everything. Well, it's the same as this, what I'm working on. It's like, okay, if I get this $100,000 grant and I have to come up with another $900,000, how long do I have before I can get all those monies together?
And if you don't get it, what happens to the money?
Yeah.
What if you don't match it?
yeah, what if you don't match it? You don't get it.
Right. So everybody has to be on board. If they're not on
Yes,
board and they're not going to do the fundraising and the grant applications to match it, they're not going to get it.
absolutely.
Or they
Yeah,
have to give it back, right?
right. And then if you've made the mistake of spending any of it on something other than, you're liable for it, you know? So,
Right.
yeah. And I've seen that happen before with other grants.
So how can people reach you?
Well, we are at tillamookcoast.com/grants. And what you'll see there is the tourism facilities grant, the marketing grant. We also do a grant for the city of Manzanita. We manage their grant. And we do a signage grant, and we do sponsorships for events. All of
And
those are
and
on.
we'll have them all on GrantWatch as well, so you'll be
Great.
able to find them there. But what if they wanted to donate, since you have such a wonderful program? What if somebody wanted to donate? How would they reach you there?
Well, right now we don't accept donations, but we do. I mean, I wish we could. We are actually researching that now through. We might be creating a 501c3 that can accept donations, and we're looking at that. But if you're interested in starting your own grant program and you're a tourism organization like we are, we have been helping other counties and municipalities around our state in the Northwest. We've even had calls from Europe
Wow.
asking how we did this. And I'm thrilled that the word is getting out about how we do it. And I do presentations around the state too about grants. So we're glad to help and get you started. And we do that
So
for free.
our listeners and viewers, hit subscribe below when you're watching this video so we can bring you more and more videos just like this. And I'm so pleased to have met you, Nan, because look, I live in Florida and I would love the counties to come and talk to you as well. And
I
I'm
will.
hoping they will.
I hope so too. And it really, it's a rethinking of how tourism organizations work. The traditional is just to do marketing, 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 which is many have to do that. They have convention centers to fill, hotels to fill.
Mhm.
But if you're looking for build capacity and the needs in your county that are tourism related, grant programs are the way to do it.
Thank you so much.
Well,
And
thank you.
I'm coming to visit you.
I hope so.
Just driving along the coast makes me excited.
It's
So thank you so
beautiful.
much.
It's
Thank
beautiful.
you. And continue with the great work that you do.
Well, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Grant Talk powered by GrantWatch. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this GrantWatch channel. Please consider subscribing to GrantWatch.com, and you can find the book, The Queen of Grants, by going to GrantWatch.com/book. Thank you again for spending your time with us.